we welcome you, Amreen. Thank you for joining us, and I now request you to start your presentation.
Thank you, ma'am. Hello? Hello?
Yes, Amreen, we can hear you
Okay,
clearly.
ma'am. Okay, ma'am. Good afternoon to all of you. My name is Amrin Taj, PhD student. As we know that today we all are here to discuss about how to clear NET exams and then set exam and about a scholarship. First and foremost things I would like to say thank you very much for to those who gave the opportunity to me to share my experience. I strongly believe that each and everybody has a different strategy to tackle the exam. So, but this series gave the great platform to freshers not only know the strategy of different person but also know the tricks and techniques to tackle in their exams. So let us start with the beautiful quote. So a smooth sea never made a skillful marine. It's indicate easy situation can never improve you or make you better. The harsh condition of your life make a person tough and more capable. So uh, today I'm going to talk about when I qualified my KSET and DNET and how I cleared my exams and what are the resources I preferred and what are my strategy, what are the challenges I faced during my preparation and the techniques to clear the exam. So what and when? So KSET Karnataka State Eligible Test I cleared in 2016. It is within the state is eligible and NET National Eligible Test in the 2018 and the scholarship I have not received any scholarship yet. So everybody is talking about like a net and slide. Why we need exactly? So why we need to clear this exam? So main thing is like to get the admission in the PhD. So to get a scholarship such as national scholarship for SC, ST, OBC, minority, JRF, and MNRF and ICSR. So for getting the scholarship, we need to clear the exams and a few of uh, um, I say, for example, ICSR, they will not require for NET or SLET. So to get a job, to have a weightage in the resume as CV and to updating the knowledge. So few of them they are clearing more than 14 and all state eligible tests. Why? Because they wanted to update their own knowledge. So find out how I find out the scholarship. So already everybody is talking about the scholarship and what are the scholarships are there, but I don't want to be focused on this area. So for example, GRF, SRF, MNF, and ICSR National Scholarship, these are the scholarships are available, and the state level scholarships also there. So I used to be go their official website and I used to check. If I talk about like a scholarship, there will be like a two types of a scholarship. One is for the online and one is offline. If I talk about online, it's like for example JRF, SRF, MNRF, and ICSRF. These all are the online scholarship. For that, I used to consult my friends and faculties. So what is the last date? What are the documents are required, and how to apply, what to apply, and all. And sometimes I used to subscribe sub ministries and sub online sites so that I can get notifications. If I talk about half-line scholarships, I used to uh, visit district collector offices, and from where I used to get the application, I used to fill. This is like a half-line. If you talk about scholarship, there is will be like a central scholarships and a state scholarships and some trust and endowments that's going to give the scholarship. For example, central scholarships are like a GRF, MNF, ICSR, and the state some states giving the scholarships such as like a Karnataka. So same is a trust. Some trust are there if you are pursuing PhD in some area, so they are going to give the financial support as a scholarship. For example, is Aga Khan Foundation. So how I clear the exam? First, I used to be check the syllabus and the previous paper. So first is like a main weapon is the syllabus and the previous paper. So we have to know that what kind of questions they are asking and the trends of the questions. So for that, I used to be prefer syllabus and the previous paper. And second is choosing correct materials. For example, now is the online era, and even though like when I was with friends, they used to tell like this book is very good for net and slate. So these books are I have like a bundle of books, so but there is no use, but it sticks only for one book. So choosing materials is quite difficult, but we have to be aware about materials. So I choose like a only one or two books, so I used to be stick to on that. So third is realistic timetable. So I adapted realistic timetable. It's like as my friend they were talking about 3 months. So I prepared only for 2 months timetable. It was a realistic timetable. So this time I have to be work on paper first. I'll be work on paper first, and paper two is a paper two. And so what are the sub topics I have to be read? I have to read and write. So these are the like realistic timetable should be there, and reading the concept. So for example, if I talk about the concept nowadays, like a asking question trends are totally changed. One is like a statistical type of questions, and one is a dynamic questions. In the statistic also like a factual and conceptual. For example, library association, I never used to be leave any question with respect to library association. I used to be remember all the dates, even those states where it is a first started, and when which state is not adopted yet. So library association, when it is when it is started, and which state is adopted first and which is not, and DDC, and who is the president for DDC, first president and second president. This kind of statistic means factual questions will be there. So we have to be focused on that also, and conceptual, some based on that conceptuals will be there. Dynamic questions. So nowadays all the question papers is based on the dynamic. If example I can say like IFLA, who is the IFLA presented now currently. So what are the new services which is catering by IFLA, and new journals which is introduced in library information science, and which is the international and national conference which is held recently. So these kind of dynamic questions also there. So I used to be make it two notes, like a statistic note and dynamic note. Before 1 month of exam I used to prepare all the dynamic notes. So this is the reading concept and note making, and solving the MCQ. So as much as possible, and as much as I solved all the question papers, and uh, I used to join some online courses, this and that. And finally is a recall and revision. Recall and revision is plays significant role. So we have to be, whatever we read or whatever make the notes, we have to be recall and revision. These entire things helped me to while I was clearing my exam. So now it's a resource. Which are resource I used? So I couldn't say like I read much more things and all. I read very few books, but the two very strictly. So 2 months UGC for paper first. 2 months UGC net and slide for GRF eligible test assistant profile. That book was helped me a lot. And Unacademia, it's a learning platform where we will get online crashes courses. So it's entire about paper first, and a competitive exam platform. For reasoning purpose, I used to be go competitive exam platforms. So for example is a GK today, so academia inside, these are the platform where I used to prepare for paper first. If I talk about paper second, is library information science UGC net guide by Bandar Bama. This is a very good book which I use. It is like all about subjective questions. After that is like in the end of the page it will objectives, so where we can follow, and a previous year question paper analysis before going to exam. I never used to leave this previous before going to exam. So MLIC notes. So few people are neglected the MLIC books because that is the base for us. So before going to exam I used to refer all the MLIC notes, which is very important to me. So after that is the EPG Pathshala, not for taking the content. I used to be for MCQ. So MCQ solving I used to prefer that EPG Pathshala, and Google search for unclear concept. Google helped me a lot to clear the concepts. So these are the paper first resource and paper second resources. And what are the challenges faced during my preparation? First is selecting the materials. So as I said before, my friends they used to tell like this material is useful, this material is useful, none of the useful. Okay, so take one resource, stick on to that. So this is a selecting of materials and improper note making. I don't know how to make the notes for it, and how to make it like a static note or separate and a dynamic note separate, other factual and a conceptual, this kind of thing. This is the biggest challenge I face, and a lack of vocabulary due to heavy words. So it means examiner they used to ask like jargon words. So very high, very tight words, which is I was not aware about it. So it was also like one kind of challenges for me, and the lack of time. So for paper first we need a much more time. So in the lack of time, also lack of time management and language barrier. For example, if I'm not understanding that English terms, which is jargon terms, I'm unable to read Hindi. Because of that, like I'm unable to understand the jargon word of English. This is the biggest language barrier for me. Unaware about trends. So we should know the trend. So, what is the question trends examiner wanted to ask, and unaware about the need of the examiner. Whatever I am reading, I am not able to okay, vomit all those things. So, I have to be give the answer based on the question. What examiner is need. So, these are the challenges which I okay, face during my preparation. And what are the techniques? So technique is work with the read and writing and speaking. If you are very strong and if you are having very strong command in that, so you can clear any kind of exams, not only the UPSC. So reading, while you are reading, so read properly and relate and write. This is the funda. So clear with the concept. So whatever you are reading, be clear with the concept. For example, if it is a statistic, so what is the factual and conceptual things, and if it is a dynamic means how to read and how to I clear with the concept. Okay, not only going for MCQs and objective types, subjective types. No, you should have to be know background things. It means subjective. So predict your own questions. So whenever when I used to make my notes, I used to make like a 4 columns in a A4 sheet. So first is like what is the topic and what are the questions they ask in a previous. It is on the left side, and information. What are the information I read from the book and how I going to use. This is the note making. Note making techniques for mine. So predict your own question, read first properly, and make it your own self like what are the question might going to be predict. So after that is a writing. So dynamic and a static part. So first you have to complete all the static part. So what are the questions and library association, this and that. And after before going to before 1 month of exam, so you complete your all dynamic part. For example, like who is the new president of IFLA, OCLC, what are the OCLC new services coming up. So this kind of dynamic you can, and optimize the notes. So whatever you are having.
Can you finish in
Yeah,
another
ma'am.
2 minutes?
Yeah, ma'am. Sure, ma'am. Sure, ma'am. So only 1 minute. Okay, this speaking and discuss with a friend and discussion, this one, and making the reading interesting. So Rancho, it is a method, and read analysis, note making, and critical examining, and helping and optimizing, and motivations. So I believe that like a self motivation, self belief, and hard work and positive environment. This is the 4 key where we can get the success. So first is self motivation. Motivation is like a fire. Unless you keep adding fuel to it, your fuel is your inner values and beliefs. Self belief. Believing is a attitude confidence that comes from a preparation. So you have to be make much more preparation. Hard work. Without hard work, there is no success. Nothing comes easily. So positive environment, where in the positive environment, a marginal performer outcome goes up. In same way, in negative environment, a good performer outcome